Welcome to In the Moment with Steven Sipes, a weekly conversation of exploration filled with fun, funny, mysterious, intriguing, revealing, engaging, eye-opening, and educational topics of discussion. When we are in the moment, we never know what we're going to get. We're not teaching, we're talking. We're not educating, we're exploring. When we are in the moment, we are open. We are one. We are all one, forever beings. Indeed.
Welcome back, and I have the privilege of being here in the Pyramid at Summerhill with Steven Sipes for this episode of In the Moment with Steven Sipes.
Welcome, Matthew.
Thank you.
So happy to have you here with me instead of on a screen in Calgary.
It is so nice to be here.
Isn't it nice?
We've spent a lot of time in here doing
Yes.
some pretty special things.
Can I point the camera up to the apex?
Probably can. Here, let me just.
So
just do a
the
lean.
viewers can
Yeah.
get an idea of the chamber we're in. It's a 4-story chamber. Oh, you're doing it. Good. Wow, beautiful. Yeah. Oh, I thought you'd stay there for a little while. Okay,
Well, I can go back.
that's okay. It's really nice to be in this,
Think
place
about
away from everything. It's kind of like a little oasis.
If you quiet just for a moment, it's like you can't hear a thing.
No.
And so many memories and things that
My hands tingle when I come here. Do you ever
I've
put
done
your
that.
hands up like
I've
that?
done that.
Yeah, you
You've
feel
guided
it?
us. Oh yeah.
It's very
You
powerful.
can actually feel it going back and
Yeah,
forth.
and I can close my eyes and move my hands, even in back of me. I can see the movement of it.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
is,
The energy in here is amazing. Lots of, theories on why, which I can expound on, but
Yeah.
we're not here to talk about that right now. But I'd love to talk about that sometime.
Sure. I think that's a great thing to clarify for people because whenever I talk about it, it becomes the hit conversation.
Oh,
People are
okay.
like, really? So,
Okay, you want to talk about it just for a minute?
oh, let's talk about it for a minute.
All right.
My one thing I'll tell you is I mentioned it to somebody just a couple weeks ago
Yeah.
about my own personal experience of like mini but healing in the pyramid, right?
Okay. Yeah.
And mentioned it to someone, actually my dad, and he said, "Well, your grandfather used to have a mini pyramid, and he would sharpen his fishing knives just by putting them under the pyramid."
Yeah, it works. Yeah, it's been patented.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
amazing.
It's amazing.
So you can say I don't believe it, but if the proof is right there,
Well,
what can you do?
I've had 30 years of experimenting
Yeah.
here. I've proven that it affects liquids quite profoundly. It clarifies liquids. But the topic was not about that. The topic was why. Okay, what makes it work?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, we have a number of theories, none of whom have been tried and true. But the most prevalent is from Dr. Valerie Hunt from UCLA. She was a science professor for 40 years. And I would urge you to Google her amazing work that she was gifted with. But she talks about negative ions, and you get negative ions when you're near, running water or in a rainstorm or in a shower.
Yeah.
And they stimulate the nerve synapses between the brain and the backbone and all of the cells and all what makes up the cells, which are atoms, the neutrons and the protons and all that.
Yeah.
So they are all electrical in nature, and negative ions is what wakes them up and stimulates them, versus positive ions, which makes them kind of drowsy and go to sleep. This is why I've been working on, ideas that I have for inventions that, like long-term drivers, bus drivers and truck drivers, who have to drive for hour after hour, and that those engines and all of that radiation from the sun and everything, that makes them very tired.
Of course.
And they can have an accident if they don't drink 10 cups of coffee or
Right.
have those new drinks now with the
Energy drinks.
energy drinks and all that. Those poor people who have to, go through that. But anyway, that's one theory is heavy, positive ions, which makes us sleepy, versus heavy negative ions, like in a pyramid chamber like this, is very heavy or very high energy of negative ions. Okay, so you can actually see it with Valerie's videos. She shows the aura of a man eating, standing by a moving stream,
Mm-hmm.
and all of a sudden you can see his aura go way out, like 18 inches to 24 inches from
Yeah.
his arm,
Yeah.
and his glowing. And she shows a mother with a little child going around and around her, and the faster they go, the more they
Yeah.
glow. All those beautiful things. It's really worth looking at. And I'm fascinated with her technology, but that's only one idea is negative ions. There's also just the fact that the shape of the elements that make up the neutrons and the protons in the atoms
Mm-hmm.
are made of pyramid shaped things. Okay.
Oh, okay.
This I've been doing research on with David Sarita, who is an amazing artist and speaker and the film producer and
Yeah.
inventor. If you Google David Sarita, Sereda, you'll see some magnificent inventions.
Yeah. YouTube him too.
And
He's got some
YouTube him.
great
Yes.
videos.
Oh my gosh. And he and I have become good friends, I'm proud to say. So anyway, that's just on that subject.
Mhm.
We were going to talk about something else, but we
Well, we
could talk
got
about
something
this
else.
for a long time.
But I'm wondering about just want to add one thing. I wonder if it's because of the nature of the internal shape of a pyramid with the base and the hips and
Yeah,
the angles,
yeah.
that once energy is in the pyramid, it's the nature of the shape that just keeps it going
Well,
versus.
there is a perpetual motion, yes,
Yeah.
and motion is part of life, and life is part of motion.
Mm.
So that's also a factor. There's a lot of factors there.
Yeah.
We're not going to cover that in
No,
a
no,
small
there's no way.
podcast.
All right. So you wanted me to ask you my question that I
Yes,
asked you
please.
off.
You asked the question that you asked me before we started this podcast.
All right. So we had just had a wonderful conversation with Carol.
Yes.
And the topic was the topic of joy.
Yes.
And we covered all the good things about joy.
Mhm.
And one of the things that, joy and happiness are inextricably kind of linked. And one of the things that I've encountered many times is people saying, I will say, you can choose joy, you can choose happiness.
Mhm.
And then people go, no, you can't.
No.
And so I've always had a fun time and an interesting time kind of
Mm.
debating that. And I'm curious what your thoughts
Okay.
are on
It's
can you
it's
choose?
it's a tough question.
Yeah.
Because it's easy to say, but it's not easy to do.
Right?
Right? Choose it.
So true.
Choose joy.
Yeah.
Well, if you're standing in a pile of SH, you know what?
Yep.
You're not choosing joy right there.
No,
right?
no.
So it's a matter of perspective and being conducive to having joy. I love the word conducive because it's all encompassing.
Yeah.
But our little boy, little girl selves is where it's at,
Mm.
and that's where the real joy is. It's the love of life. We have to remember in our soul memories that we chose to have these bodies.
Right?
We actually, while in the ethereal plane, said, "Oh, I've got a purpose. I need to get back there. I have something to do." Right?
Right.
And we chose our mom and dad to produce us. We're part of that. We're part of that involvement. And in fact, if you go further with it, I'll expound on that. Is that we created our physical plane so that we could do it.
Right.
That's the magic of it all. Or even the fantastic thing is that we are co-creators from moment to moment.
Yeah.
I
was just going to say the idea of creating our own plane is
That's fantastic. It's
Yeah.
so joyous. It's all about joy. So yes, it's hard to choose, like you asked the question, but it's in us.
Yeah.
As long as we don't dismiss it and forget it, that's who we really are, is the joy of life. That's why we came back into bodies. That's why
Yeah.
we created these bodies and why we created the whole universe to start with,
Mhm.
right? It comes back to the original Big Bang Theory. We are all one forever beings. It's my favorite saying because
Absolutely.
it always comes back to that.
Yeah.
And it's such a beautiful thing to think of us as being all one creative, all one forever beings, because with that in mind, that consciousness, we wouldn't do anything to hurt anybody else because you are me. I am you.
That's right.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So when we created the universe, we created a place to experience joy. Is that kind of what you're thinking?
We created a place to expound on that joy and to magnify it and to make it even more joyous.
Right.
The whole universe is a joyous place.
Right.
It continues to expand and mystify us in all of its glory.
Yeah.
We can't even fathom how magnificent it is. I saw a film a year and a half ago, and it still haunts me, that they sent a camera down, I think it was 3 miles to the deepest part of the world,
Oh.
way down in the ocean, right?
Yeah.
Where there's no light, zero light.
Okay.
And there they found creatures Can you imagine?
No.
And they're beautiful creatures.
Really?
Yeah, and you could see them. They're all magnified. And they have eyes. I don't know how they see without light, but
Right.
they can move around. They interact. It's magnificent that life is everywhere.
Yeah.
Right?
Everywhere.
Everywhere.
Even in the depths of
In the
darkness.
depths of the ocean. So we cannot not have joy.
No.
Right? It's so thrilling
exciting.
to be alive. How could we not think of how magnificent it is? And who would want to preoccupy ourselves with the CRMP
Right.
of, oh my gosh, and surround ourselves with so much stupid stuff?
Right.
Come on, let's get a hold of ourselves and be joyous.
So, two things come to mind.
Yeah.
Number one, this must relate then to the idea that we get so wrapped up in the human drama
Yes.
and material
Yes.
and whatnot. But the other side of it is, what do you do?
Yeah.
Right? Like, I have a couple of techniques that I choose to use for when I just need to choose joy.
Right.
What's a technique that you use?
Technique to choose joy.
Yeah.
That's another tough question, Matthew, because
I like to give you the tough questions.
yeah. But I don't actually use techniques.
No.
I just when I stop thinking about something and I stop wanting it, it
Yeah.
just comes to me automatically. It's when you stop worrying about stuff that that the grace comes through, that the love comes through you,
Yeah.
because we are love. We are grace. We are God. It's beautiful. We are co-creating from moment to moment. It's not. It's the way that it happens. If you're out looking for a soulmate or a mate or a good friend, you'll never find that friend unless you let go of that idea.
Right.
Right?
It's
And all of a
so
sudden you just bump into them
counterintuitive.
by accident
Yeah.
and say, oh, where you been all my life?
Right.
Yeah.
So, but we have such a hard time letting go.
Very important to
Right.
do. Yes.
Yeah.
Letting go is such a beautiful blessing, because we can all think of circumstances that would make us angry and make us upset.
Yeah.
Right? Little stupid
Oh,
things.
easy.
I mean, my gosh, I had a girlfriend once that I loved her so much. I gave her the pendant that my mother gave me, and before she died, and it was a family heirloom.
Yeah.
And I hardly even knew this girl.
Oh my gosh.
And do I regret that?
Yeah.
No, I let that go.
Yeah.
Because it was love, and that love was very sincere. And when I gave it to her, I meant it.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
Let's go. Let it go, Steve.
Let it go.
Because that, what would I do having that little family heirloom jewel from my mother? What difference would it make?
You would
a
just have
material
it.
thing. I would just have it.
Just have
And in this way, I've given it to somebody, and which is the way it should be,
Yeah.
right? You give away the things you love.
Yes.
Yes.
That's beautiful.
Oh, it is kind of. I'll say it myself.
It is. It is kind of beautiful.
Yeah.
For me, I have to. I have techniques. I have to. I
Okay.
have to employ.
You're more structured than I am.
Well, I think that I don't know. Maybe it's just my experience has led me to do things my way versus you doing things your way.
Yeah.
One of the best ones that I can't believe it works, but is to think of a laughing baby. If I think of a giggling baby, it's hard not to get back into
Yes.
a positive mind frame.
Yes.
So
And
that's
we're
one of the
both
things.
blessed with beautiful little babies.
Absolutely.
Our little girls and boys are so happy all the time.
And I love that you just said that we choose our moms and dads. That means
Yeah,
our little
our
kids chose
children
us.
have chosen
That's
us.
amazing.
So beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wish it was a difference. We choose them.
Yeah, right?
So-
I'd still choose them.
Yeah,
You'd still choose
I
her.
would. Some of them are a little
Yeah.
tough on me, but okay. I've got
Some of them are
5
tough.
kids.
You're through the gauntlet more than I am.
Yeah.
I've still got a ways to go to catch up to you.
Yeah.
Well, that gives me some new food for thought and a way to think about joy, and yeah, just the importance of having, I think, especially in today's world with the pandemic and the state of mental health for a lot of people, is having a technique maybe isn't such a bad idea for getting through those tougher moments,
Yes.
right?
Well, there's mantras which have worked for some people. They don't necessarily work for me. But I think they do work for some people. And everything is different with everybody. Nobody has one set of things that work for them. You got to try everything, and I think they're all good.
I think so too.
Yeah, I like your thinking. This is because we all are different, and that's vive la différence. It's a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
It's great that we have that individuality that makes us strong.
Yeah.
Makes us who we are.
Yeah.
It gives us that joy. And we all have that sexual energy too, which is a wonderful energy. It's something that makes us proud of being a man or a beautiful woman.
Yeah.
and not only proud, but we feel that contribution to procreating,
Yeah.
looking our best,
Sure.
whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
Pluck my eyebrows
Oh, right.
anymore.
Right.
Somebody plucked my eyebrows
Oh,
once,
geez.
and I hated that because they don't grow back.
Oh, they don't?
No,
Oh,
mine didn't.
I better stop then.
Don't
All right,
do it.
no. It's just this one gray one that
Oh
I
my
was
gosh.
gotta get rid of.
Cut it, don't pluck it.
So, further to that, so we've been working a little bit on things relating to mental health, and it goes towards what you just said about we have a phrase, you never know actually, we say we never know what's going to make a difference. And it was important to me that we all feel collectively like we're working together towards a more positive mental health situation. And it's unbelievable to me, but for some people, something as simple as a glass of water
Yes.
or a walk will help them. But the same technique will not do anything for the next person. For them, they need to meditate, or they might need to do yoga. And it's just really interesting to see all the array, and it's a wonderful array of things that people can do now to get recentered and get feeling better.
You know what? I always feel good about myself when I get an inspiration to do something and it just comes through me.
Yeah.
And in order to do that, in order to get that inspiration, like an inspiration to go lift barbells, which, it comes to me.
Yeah.
Steve, you better work out. Your arms are looking flabby.
Yep. Right.
Yeah, so I don't want to look flabby.
No, that's right.
So,
Tough guy.
yeah, tough guy.
Yeah.
Shut up. So yeah, you get inspirations to do that. They come through us.
Yeah.
But we have to be open to them. That's why I always say, embrace our feminine receiving. We men can do it. It's harder for us because we're XY chromosomes and women are XX. So they're always receiving and it's easier for them. But we men have to work a little harder and just put aside our, aggressiveness and our, man things, whatever. and then the message is that, we should go and have a walk, or we should not eat all that bread.
Right.
And butter is good for us, but not pounds of it,
No.
stuff like that.
Right.
It comes to you. You
Yeah.
don't even need to have it written
true.
down or somebody tell you. We know ourselves. Our bodies tell us what we want to eat, what we want to do, what we need to do.
it's true.
If we start listening and becoming more attuned with who we are and our bodies, we are attuned to the whole universe. We're microcosms of the universe. My God, we can certainly figure out we shouldn't eat that frozen shrimp that came from China yesterday.
No.
No.
Not yesterday's.
No, not yesterday's.
Not
Frozen
yesterday's.
shrimp. Don't
Yeah.
eat that.
Yeah.
As hungry as we might be.
The last time I was here, I started a new journey in my life of going with the flow.
Yeah.
And I was reminded so many times since then of how many times I've asked, somebody what time it is, and Steve, I don't know.
I don't know where a watch and don't
Or,
have a cell phone. Hallelujah.
A time that I was late for a meeting, I came in and said, Stephen, I'm so sorry I'm late. I was only 5 minutes late.
Yeah.
And you're like, what are you talking about? You're talking to a guy who sometimes doesn't know what day of the week it is.
Yeah.
But
don't tell everybody
No,
that.
no. I'm sure you didn't mean it.
Well, I can think of it as a state that everybody should be in.
That's just
It's
what I'm
so
learning.
beautiful.
It's a part of that letting go.
Yeah.
And as soon as you do,
So
it's
nice.
amazing how
Amazing.
things
Yes,
flow.
the universe just feeds us.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
And it's better than trying to control.
Oh, we can't do it. Give
That's-
up.
Yeah.
The more you try, the worse it is.
It's true.
Yeah. There's an old saying. I can't do it in the right accents. Hey, nobody got it worse than a rich white man.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because you have it's an old saying, because you get, the more you have, the more curse it is, right?
Oh,
Material things.
because of other people's
It's
objectifying.
more to
or-
worry about everything, it's all, it owns you instead of you owning it.
Mm.
And I had a wonderful experience when I was in my 20s where I went into, I sat in lotus for 7 days without eating. I drank and I didn't sleep. And I was I reached a state of nirvana. It was so beautiful. And when I came out of it, I put a little round rock under my tongue and made a vow not to speak. And I didn't speak for 3 weeks. And
Wow.
I gave away all my possessions. I gave my house and my car away. I gave everything. It's quite profound.
I bet.
It was really changed my
I
life.
bet.
And now I have a beautiful perspective of material things,
Yeah.
because now I've accumulated huge amounts of material things. I
Right.
own, a winery.
Absolutely.
And, I'm building a little town in New York. I mean, my gosh.
Do you
But
think
it's
that it
in a
was?
different perspective.
It would have to be. Do you think it was the act of giving it all away
Yes.
that led to achieving more, or was it the act of giving it away that caused you to say, "Let me see if I can do it again"?
Oh, do it again. Well, if you're satisfied with what the results, why would you want to do it again?
Well, this is what I mean, though. Like, was it you had success early as a young
Very
man?
big success. When I was 19, I was building a house on the lake with two Cadillacs on the driveway.
Exactly.
I was driven.
Yeah.
Driven to make money.
Yeah. And then that all was given away.
Yeah.
And so at that moment, were you thinking, am I going to be able to do this again, or will I do this again, or am I challenging myself to do this again?
Oh, good question. I don't think of having to do it again. I always think of it as a stepping stone that's enabled me to have the perspective that possessions are just that. That
So you had to do it.
Yeah, you don't
You
own
almost,
anything. We
you
don't
almost
own
had
anything.
to do it
I
in order
had
to
to
gain
do
that
it.
perspective.
Yes, it had to be so.
Hmm.
Just like other things that we all go through in our lives, we wake up calls, we call them.
Yep. Oh yeah.
And we all are enriched by our own experiences. In fact, you could almost make a statement that you can't teach anybody anything; they have to learn it themselves, right?
That's a good point.
Yeah.
In many
Just like you can't heal a person; they have to heal themselves.
Mm.
Stuff like that. The self and the understanding of self is perhaps the most important thing, because the word self, especially with a capital S, is equivalent, in my opinion, to the word love and the word God.
Mm.
Okay, self-love and
Oh.
God are all three things are the same.
Yeah.
They have the same meaning. There is no difference. They're all holy words when you take them as being, the grandness that they represent,
Mm.
right? The image of oneness with all there is. That's what it is the oneness. The most beautiful prophecy of all prophecies is oneness. It's called a law of oneness, but I don't like the word law because laws are made to be broken.
Mm. Right.
And we're lawbreakers and we love to break the law.
Right.
Who doesn't speed?
I know.
Right? Come on.
Yeah.
You gotta speed.
I do.
You do.
Little here,
We
little.
all do, And when that light turns yellow and we're going fast, we want to just get
Sure.
through that light, right? Stuff
Once
like
in
that.
a while.
So when this thing is,
Yeah.
we're lawless. We love it. Yeah. And so it is us.
Well, and the reality is there are laws. We made the laws.
We made the laws.
Right. So
Yeah, the biggest experience I had, I don't know how long we can talk, but when I lived in Italy for a month, it was hysterical because we lived in a lawmaker's office.
oh
Yeah, it was like this
Oh.
huge warehouse of laws. And they have so many laws in Italy that they don't know what they are. They don't
Oh
know
my
that there's
gosh.
laws. And in those times, there was no seatbelt law.
okay.
So a car could go down the highway with 12 kids in it,
Oh gee.
right? And a motorcycle or motorbikes had a family of 5 on them.
Oh
right?
my
With
god.
no headrest, stuff like head gear. Anyway, talking about laws. Okay.
Yeah. No, we don't want to worry about laws.
No, don't worry about laws. The subject is joy.
Yeah.
The subject is oneness, and the subject is choosing. This is your question.
Yeah.
To be in joy versus not to be in joy.
Right.
Right. So in choosing, we have to reflect on the grandness of who we are.
Mm.
That's what it is. And when we see that, when we see how magnificent it is to be on this planet, in this universe, how could we be anything but in joy?
Think about it this way.
Yeah.
The grandness of who we are,
Yes.
which could possibly be reworded as the grandness of self.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And if we interchange that with the grandness of love, like you said, those words
Yes.
are interchangeable.
Yes.
We already know that love is grand and God is grand.
Yes.
And now if we can just come to really realize the
Yeah.
glory of who we are, right?
That's on the book.
Cut the light a little bit, realizing the glory of who we are,
Yeah.
then all of a sudden it makes more sense
Yeah. Yeah.
to be almost more reverent of ourselves.
100% more reverent of ourselves. Beautiful. Beautiful. Yes, we have to do that. Everything we eat, everything we touch, everything we say, it's all related. And our beautiful religions have taught us that. Every one of them has a thread of gold.
Yeah.
In the Catholic Church, which is where I grew up and learned a lot in the Catholic Church.
Yeah.
Married a Catholic girl. All my friends were Catholic from Blessed Sacrament High School. The law was even thinking a bad thought was a sin, right?
Yeah.
And I used to think about that. Wow, what do you mean? It's my thoughts. I'm allowed to have whatever thoughts I
Sure.
want. Why is that a sin? Blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah. But it's a correct thing,
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah.
Because anything we do or say or think to ourselves, again, capital S selves,
Yeah.
is discrediting the grandness of who we are.
Yeah.
Right? So therefore, it is, I wouldn't call it a sin, but it is getting away from going in the direction that we really should be going in,
Right.
especially at this crisis time we're facing on the planet.
You said it so perfect. Going away from the direction we should be going. I learned long ago, I hope this is true, but that the term sin
Yes.
actually comes from archery.
Oh,
And when you miss the bullseye, it's called a sin
Really?
because you missed the mark.
okay.
And so we've given so much credence, and we're taught, especially as young Catholics, that a sin is so bad,
So bad.
that we feel like it's this great big thing.
I
But
know.
sometimes a sin isn't such a big thing.
No.
You missed the mark. That's all. You missed the mark.
That's a
right?
very good analogy.
Yeah.
Yes, I love analogies. My mother used to say analogies. A person who uses analogies is a sign of genius.
Well, my ex-wife used to say I was terrible at analogies. So what does that tell you?
Oh, we can never win.
No, it's okay.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
So, I feel great. I love a spirited conversation with you.
Thank you.
Always have. I'm so glad to be here for a visit.
It's so nice that we're together in
Yeah.
person.
Yeah.
All the rest of our podcasts are long distance, and it makes a difference.
It is different. It's a different vibe.
Different dimension. We're in each other's bands of energy.
That's right. I was just going to say.
I'll end this conversation perhaps by saying that
Sure.
I always wanted everything to revolve around forming groups and gatherings, right?
Yeah.
A gathering for the new moon, gathering for the full moon, gathering for the equinox and the solstices. And now, of course, we can't gather because of COVID.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've changed my how would you say, direction to try to have an impact on humanity to wake up and realize our grandness
Yep.
by joining an anonymous network
Mm-hmm.
that we want to create. And I'm going to work on how, when you join it, you can be a giver to humanity from the heart. And with education and a test will be given.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we're going to give you, it has to be an initiation.
Yeah.
We're going to give you a number of things to study, and we're going to ask that you study these things and see where you can shine in whatever suits you best, and be able to become an official giver of these wisdoms to humanity.
Beautiful.
So yeah, it could be a really wonderful thing. And this just all happened just in this last podcast. It was brought out with Carol Serene Morgan, who is a wonderful. She channels Pax.
Yes.
This is her book, Due Unto Earth, and she channels Pax, who is representative of consciousness.
Right.
Yes. So yes, she also is a registered nurse.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, she's a nurse. Yeah, she's very conscious of the body. She's very she knows the physical and the spiritual. She's a very wonderful person. Yeah.
It's a good asset to have in going into this idea of initiated leaders.
Initiated leaders. I think especially the youth is crying now to say something and be something and do something, and this could give them a platform, especially if it's anonymous. I think people don't want to have to belong to anything. No.
Not right now.
No.
There's
No, we're craving our anonymity. We're craving our privateness. These invasions of technical things.
I think there's been so much division and separation.
Yeah.
Whether real. I mean, in some cases, I feel like it's not even real, but we feel like there's a division or a separation, and so we're like, Not right now.
Not right now, no. But yeah, I think Anonymous belongs there in the equation of forming this group. But anyway, we can expound on that.
Another time.
Wonderful.
In the meantime, we're here at the beautiful Summerhill Winery. We should go have some beautiful wine.
Let's go have a glass of wine.
I love it. I love it. I love you.
Thank you.
We love all of you. Thank you so much for tuning in to yet another beautiful episode of In the Moment with Steven Sipes. I'm your faithful co-host, Matthew Jensen, signing off.
Thank you, Matthew. Love you, Matthew. Thank you. Thank you all so much for coming and joining us.
Take care.
Maybe come to the pyramid one day.
Please. Gotta feel the vibe.
Yeah.